A very good morning to my Year 5 students. Welcome to my English lesson. Today is Monday, 4th May 2020. Today's lesson objective is as follows. Identify the techniques used in poems. Identify the techniques used in poems. Do you remember the techniques used in poems? Poets use certain techniques when they write poems. We looked at this last week. I give you a few seconds. Think about the techniques used. The first technique will be repetition. Now, words or phrases are deliberately repeated. The poet decides to repeat certain words or phrases intentionally. Deliberately means intentionally, because the poet wants to bring these words to the attention of the reader, so therefore he decides to repeat these words. The next one will be, it begins with the letter O. Yes, you guessed it right. Onomatopoeia. A word which imitates the natural sound. A word which imitates the natural sound. For example, if the poet decides to write a sentence to show the movement of the car, then he will write down, room, room, the car goes. Let's say, for example, if the poet decides to show the sound of the car's horn, then he may choose to write down pom pom. The third one will be alliteration. A series of words begin with the same consonant sounds. For example, she sells seashells by the seashore. We looked at this last week, remember? And the last one will be, it begins with the letter S. It has 3 syllables. Do you remember? Yes, simile. 2 things are compared using as or like. For example, as beautiful as the rose. She is as beautiful as the rose. It can also be written as she is beautiful like the rose. So, with that, we move on to today's lesson. For today's lesson, I want you to take out your learner's book. Kindly turn to page 134. Page 134 of the learner's book. I want all of you to look at question 2. Tick the correct column in the table to show the technique shown in these examples from the poem. Now, there is a poem on page 133. You have to read the poem, and then after that, you have to identify the following phrases used in that poem. And you need to write down whether a particular phrase is a simile, is it an alliteration, is it onomatopoeia, is it repetition. You have to put ticks in the correct column. Let us look at these phrases. Like a whisper near the door. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. Mr. Shadow's soft-soled, slippy, slidey, shiny, silent shoes. Shush, shush. And now I want all of you to look at page 133. We will read the poem together. Shall we? Page 133. Like a whisper near the door, ghostly in the corridor, soft-soled shoes slide across the floor. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. Mr. Shadow's shoes, soft-soled shoes, soft-soled silent shoes, soft-soled, slippy shoes. Soft-soled, slidey shoes. Mr. Shadow's soft-soled, slippy, slidey, shiny, silent shoes. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. He will always find you, creeping up behind you. He will always find you. Look out, he's behind you. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. Shush, shush, left and right. Shush, shush, out of sight. And this poem is written by Paul Cookson. And now I want all of you to turn back to page 134. You can read the poem again later on. Okay, read the poem and you need to attempt question 2. And once you have attempted question 2, I want you to look at section 1. Put these onomatopoeia words from the cloud into the sentences below. Now these are examples of onomatopoeia words: whoosh, flutter, chatter, roar, croaking. So you have to fill in the blanks using these onomatopoeia words. And once again, the definition of onomatopoeia is given here under helpful hints. Let's read it together, shall we? Sometimes words sound like their meaning. This is called onomatopoeia. Examples of this are splish and splash, which describe water movement. For example, the rain splashed down. So year 5s, do for me this activity. Try for me sections 1 and section 2. Take a photograph of your work, post it on Class Dojo message. With that, we have come to the end of the lesson. Bye-bye.